Welcome to the Gaming Expedition. My name is Jafo.
I am the Grand Jedi Master Jake.
And we have a different guest, or different person other than there are some who call me Team. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I suppose I'm Darth Michael now.
No, you may refer to him as plain boring Michael. He is only Darth Michael to me, and why you shall see in the future. Believe me, it's something I don't ever like to discuss.
They're just opposites. Just leave it at that. Anyway, the main reason for this podcast that we're doing is for E3.
Right. Because this is a gaming channel, I've decided that earlier today, kind of off the cuff, at the very last minute, that we should discuss this to sort of get with the times. So, I've decided to label this the Campfire Chat. Or fire...
Going all Roosevelt. I like it.
Oh, man.
No, that was the Fireside Chat. This is the Campfire Chat.
Still has that Roosevelt type thing going on.
But
so
anyway,
crazy.
this is just
Even
where
though we're
we...
indoors. Wait, we're not supposed to say it. We're outside. There's marshmallows.
We have technology, guys.
That's the Graham
We're sitting
Crackle, snap and crackle, pop of the fire.
Snap, crackle, and pop.
In truth, we're looking at a screen that has that fire video, that fireplace thing. Yeah,
Not even that. Look,
yeah.
this is just Campfire Chat is just a podcast where if we think of something that we want to talk about, and we'll talk about it. And since it's the end of the week of E3, we thought we better do this right now if we want to talk about it. Otherwise, we're going to get really behind. And we want to stay current. We are that desperate.
Current-ish. Anyway, so
really,
very nice. Very nice.
So anyway, as you all know, E3 was, as the time of this recording, just like a week ago. So we're trying to get this up, but we have not seen all of the presentations. We only know the clip notes. So we are going to go through as much as we can and just give our initial thoughts on it. We've seen some of the press conferences, like Jordan has seen
Bethesda's
and I've
BE3.
And I've seen the Nintendo press conferences. I have not seen Microsoft, Sony, but I've looked some of the stuff up about what they're announcing. So we're just gonna go through some of that. How do you think we want to do this?
Let's just start off with a company, or actually, let's start off with E3 in and of itself.
Right.
E3, or the Electronic Entertainment Expo, has been going on for quite some time, and it is essentially a revolutionary type thing. I would think to say
every year I like tuning in just to find out what type of thing is getting released.
Yep, it's essentially, if you think about it, sweeps week for video game developers and stuff like that.
Although we live in a modern age where, like, Nintendo Directs, to where, like, if there's a game that they're developing, like, a company can just come on screen and schedule a press conference at any time. So really, I've always wondered, like, when E3 is gonna, like, start to change, because it's like waiting. I mean, I know it's like Christmas, but for, like, gamers, to where, like, we all see what new is coming, but I'm like, that can happen at any time for any company. I mean, they're not limited to, like, one day.
Yeah, but that's also in conjunction with, like, CES. That's another consumer electronics. Well, that's what it is. Consumer electronics show.
I'm just speaking about announcements, like being the place where those demos are, like, available. Like,
yeah,
that's always going to be there, because it's always the hands-on experience that you can have.
Yeah. It's just different. That's what I'm going for. It's where everybody can get together and essentially collaborate if they want to. A lot of, well, big-ish names that I can think of have kind of join forces on some pretty interesting projects. None really come to mind, but I know that it has happened before, where talks between them, whether it was a new fangled technology or just an idea between a couple of people from a couple of different companies.
Fangled technology.
New fangled technology. Oh wow! I don't want to go to the Cosby face. Sorry, people.
All right. I think we should just start off with what company do you want to start off with first? I think I'm.
Let's go with the Nintendo first.
Okay. Well, no, those are like one of the big three, so I want to save that to the end. Towards the end, I was actually wanting to start off with EA at first because that's the only thing that I found really I can't. And I'm looking some of this stuff up because it's one of those. EA was not one of the press conferences that I saw or really know a lot about, but one of the things that I found was Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront for the VR.
The newer version. Yeah, they're supposed to have it out by the end of the year or something that they're wanting to push it out by.
Well, there's DLC for Cloud City that I know of. And then there's VR. There's the X-Wing VR game that they were wanting to release, and I'm like, okay, that. You find, because one of the things that I was wondering, and one of the things that I didn't really like, and if I had the system to buy it on, I'm like, okay, I don't know if I would get Battlefront because they don't have any of the ships battles necessarily. It's all ground combat, and I'm like, I love the ship battles. I want to fly X-Wings. And so now we're getting, a virtual reality one. And I'm like... And
that one you almost think that spaceship battles would be a given.
Yeah, it's
because
such a huge part of the franchise.
People, if you've been watching a couple of the videos that I've had out, I've been talking about VR quite a bit lately. One of them is Elite Dangerous that's a VR capable game. You're essentially in the cockpit of a spaceship. You're looking around, you're making decisions, and that's one of the things that you think of when you're playing a game like this. When you're actually looking around the cockpit, making decisions. Where do I need to go? Do I need, where's the enemy ship? Stuff like that. When you're in the cockpit of a ship in Star Wars, that franchise, you want to look around. You don't want to be kind of stuck in one place. You want to be able to be essentially part of the action. It's just one of those ideals.
I'm looking up all of EA's highlights, and I'm like, none of this stuff seems to be interesting me right now. There's let's see, Amy Henning's Star Wars game. Let's see, I guess she's a programmer, and she's working on a Star Wars game. I didn't see any footage of that. And I'm looking at a still shot, and okay, it looks like we're getting the time of the Empire and stuff.
Well, yeah, it looks like it's supposed to be because she was part of Uncharted.
Yeah.
So they're trying to make it seem a little bit
and then
Uncharted. Yeah.
I noticed a lot of VR was a main thing that people were talking about doing this. Just to get sidetracked, when we get to Sony, they introduced their VR system, and I think that's where they introduced the Star Wars game with Battlefront, and I'm just guessing that had to do with EA because EA did Battlefront. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of EA stuff that I found particularly exciting, but then it's EA. It's not really my type of company.
Yeah, I've seen a decline in their, I wouldn't say quality maybe.
Let's see here.
Would be better to kind of go by.
Yeah, it says even in the website, because we're looking up some of the things that we miss, and it says one needs improvement. Not too many games was shown by them, I guess. Let's see here. Biggest game was Titanfall 2.
I don't know anything.
Yeah, Titanfall.
Good
That doesn't really say much. The only thing that I can really say, Titanfall 2. Okay, the original Titanfall. I like the game, but seeing as it said that it had a campaign, but it didn't have a natural progression. It was an online multiplayer campaign. It would go about to different ones. The story didn't kind of go in a way that a campaign would. It just felt like you were being randomly thrown around in different maps, just like you normally would if you were to join any other multiplayer game. Oh, you're on this map again. Okay. This is your objective. Okay.
Another game I'm finding is Battlefield 1, and this one I have heard of because people were talking about how this game is actually going back to World War One, not World War Two.
I've seen it, and I actually have high hopes for this game.
People were saying Call of Duty's going into space, and and Battlefield's going back to World War One.
What?
I will say this isn't interesting because we haven't really gotten World War One before. We've gotten so many World War Two, and then it started progressing into the modern age. And now it's going into sci-fi territory. Like that whole joke of Call of Duty is one day going to cross over with Halo because it's going to progress that much. I'm thinking that's going to be true one of these days, where Call of Duty is just going to start blending.
They've already got the cyber suits and advanced warfare, so
we'll get
you're that close to a Spartan suit, might as well do the natural progression there.
Anytime they need a new game, they just make it zombies.
Well, we'll just get to that. We'll get to that eventually. Okay, so that's all of E3 EA at E3 that I'm looking at that I can find interesting. Not a whole lot, unfortunately. Sorry, EA fanboys. This is going to be short. Okay.
I know Mass Effect. That's another one that they and for the people who know Mass Effect 1 through 3 that's already been out, I'm sorry, but I mean, as much as I love the series, I don't see anywhere that it could have gone after it. The Mass Effect relays were destroyed. Sorry for the spoiler alert there if you have not played it, but the relays blew up. The way that they can do faster than light, or FTL, transportation, was essentially obliterated, sending them back essentially to the Stone Age for them. That's my deal. So yeah.
Okay, so
how about
I guess,
Ubisoft?
Yeah, Ubisoft,
guys, come on.
Darth Michael is here to correct me.
Ubisoft,
Okay.
Ubisoft, whatever it is. Anyway.
I'm just
like Ubisoft. Oh no, I'm just kidding. Ubisoft.
Okay, so first one that I can think of, Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boom.
I was one of those people.
Rant.
Yes, rant time.
Brace yourselves.
Brace yourselves. I was one of those people that had the pre-order for Watch Dogs. I got it through Steam, and I was like, okay, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to love it because it combines two of my favorite things. Being able to do whatever you want in a city, namely, in this case, I believe it was Chicago. It's been a while since I played it, but Chicago, and then merging that with technology. Me gusta technology. But the thing is that the game, the mechanics on it were so wonky, at least for me, that it didn't feel like a game that I would want to go back and play. I went through the entire game, no problem, but when I was like, I'm going to get the game another shot, went back and I was like, I'm lost. I can't play this game anymore. I even tried starting over, still had a problem with trying to play the game, and it just instantly lost me. That excitement that I had was lost, and I sincerely hope that if they took the stuff to heart that people were saying about the original Watch Dogs and placed it into Watch Dogs 2. I might get the game when it's on sale. I'm not going to get it right out of the chute because of all the problems that I had in the original Watch Dogs. That's just my thing. I wasn't too impressed with it.
Yeah, well, like people, like you were basically like textbook complaints about what people brought up when it first released. Like everybody thought that this was.
Don't get me wrong. The story was amazing. If you've played the game, you know that the story is pretty great. It has a little bit of I can see where that would pop in and everything, but the game mechanics were skewed. You had a semi-linear type of gameplay. It was super. You knew it was scripted. That's basically what I have to go by.
Well,
anyways,
hopefully they'll be able to. Hopefully they'll be able to take the complaints and not just because they wanted to turn this into a franchise. So I'm like, okay, this is either do or die time. You either get this one down right, otherwise there is no going to be number 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. People, you really only get a second chance sometimes in the gaming realm. Really.
Yeah.
For a lot of things, actually, because you often hear like, okay, that had problems, but a second round could iron out all the kinks and make it actually really great. So hopefully I'm also seeing the sequel to South Park, The Stick of Truth.
Oh, just go on.
Yeah, I'm not a big South Park fan.
No,
so I guess let's see here.
Go back.
Star Trek Bridge Crew, which is a VR game. Once again, we're getting into VR territory. We'll bring that up later. Assassin's Creed the movie is on this site.
Okay,
movie.
I'm not gonna rant about this, but
I've seen the trailer. I wasn't impressed.
The current track for video game movies has not been really good.
I mean, you're taking what makes it a video game out.
You are taking the playing element out of that. Just by having that particular movie. I would rather have like a thing where you would like buy a ticket and you are watching a Telltale movie that you can choose how it goes. Choose your own adventure type thing.
What?
So you know exactly what goes on.
Rent out the Telltale Games movie is just they make multiple just clips and then they rent out an entire theater, and so each like seating in the theater is a different choose your own thing. So it's like, okay, you start here, and then if you want the characters to do this, go over to theater 8. If you want them to do that, go over to theater 16.
Well, okay, that might be a little bit over, but I mean you can see almost the appeal for it, and especially with like all of the different type of augmented reality wear, or I guess virtual reality wear as well, that you can almost see maybe a couple of premium theaters having some sort of like headset where you could be able to essentially move around the environment, watch what happens, or essentially be a part of that action. What is it? Hardcore Henry. It's essentially a point of view movie.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of getting off topic of video games, but Hardcore Henry, you essentially are the protagonist of that movie. You feel like you are doing something just by being in that element, regardless of who you are. So. All
right. So we let's see. There's also some other things. Trials of the Blood Dragon. Never heard of that. Eagle Flight. The Division. The Division.
Oh, they're supposed to have more DLCs. I don't know. I hope it rekindles the interest in the Division. One of the recent studies that I saw about the Division since it got released, 95% of the people that have played it do not play it anymore. They just kind of stopped. And I am not one of those people, really. I'm actually part of the 5% that still kind of going through the game before I actually become one of the 95%. Haven't gotten quite there yet, but getting close.
Then we have Steep, which is a new property, which it says on this website, combines action sports with open world games set in the Alps and focused on a handful of high elevation mountain sport, including parachuting, wind sailing, and extreme.
Is that supposed to be a VR type of game, or is that supposed to be?
It doesn't look like it's a VR game.
It looks more like
although,
okay.
Given how VR is probably going to be, I don't know how VR is going to take off, or if it's not. This could potentially become a VR game because, like, some of the shots are in first-person view, so that is a very strong possibility.
That's an interesting thing to bring up, and I'll bring it back when we're actually talking about VR in the first place. Then, but yeah, I'll bring that up in a bit, and I'll kind of see what I think is going to be going on.
Then we move on to
Sega's press conference. Dude,
wait, Sega? Isn't that the person, or isn't that like what's that? There were title characters like a mouse or something.
Needle Mouse.
Something like that? No. Oh wait, Sonic.
I'm
totally kidding. Sorry, Sega hasn't really been a huge thing as of late.
Well, not even their press conference, because people said Sega was the absolute worst thing about this E3, because apparently they came by and said, hey, we're having online streaming press conference, and we're announcing something big for Sonic the Hedgehog, and people are like, oh, this is Sonic's 25th anniversary, so they're announcing like a new game for his 25th anniversary game for this year.
Please tell me it's not a sequel to Sonic 06. Please.
No, and it's like, okay,
I actually have that game.
I know you do, and I hate you for it.
I taught you how to launch yourself to the moon using a box.
That was great.
But like apparently all it was is like them announcing like some type of contest. There was like no games announced, no major announcements, and people like Sega, you wasted our time.
They said it was a huge announcement. I'm sorry, but when you say huge announcement, it has to be something
Sega
other than a contest.
Sega E3 2016. Sega doesn't meet fan expectations with Sonic the Hedgehog announcements.
It's a picture of Sonic
crying. Gotta put that in the video.
Let's see here. But no, the fan told by Sega the future he would celebrate.
Oh man!
Sega would be offering an all-expense-paid trip to the event, and the winner of a newly announced competition, the lucky winner, would get the chance to not only attend the event but meet all of the Sonic team. If you like to get involved, on a final note, Sega is so basically it was like just sort of like a contest
tour Sega
of like them going to like the 25th anniversary.
Like pointing out, okay, this is the point where you started to turn, and things went really, really bad. And I want to start off with 06 because that's when they started making things a little bit less realistic.
Just a little.
Well,
I mean a lot.
Well,
less
really
realistic.
Bad.
Well, they're on a bad track like right now because like Sega, people thought they were coming back with like Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations because people like those games. And I
Sonic Heroes. I loved that game. I loved it. That was what before Sonic 06 even came out.
Yeah, that was like. That was when they started declining because, like, after Sonic Adventure 2, that game was released and people were like, okay, there's a lot of problems with, like, the controls and stuff, but it's still Sonic, and
it's decent, but then that's when like the decline started to happen, and then they released Shadow the Hedgehog.
Don't get me wrong, I like Shadow the Hedgehog, like the character, but
not
awesome.
the game.
not the
his
game
game.
so much.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Give the no, just no.
So
you would think there would be a little bit more, like they outline all of his powers. You'd think that you'd be able to use them in a specific
instead
manner.
we get guns.
Yeah. Instead, you are given guns. It's just like that doesn't.
That's also part of his character.
Which one of us?
It is a part of his character. I'm not arguing that it isn't, but it's the idea that it doesn't feel like a Sega game. You know?
Which one?
It's more of, I mean, yeah, if you bring it into light at the very beginning, yeah, he does use guns. That it's just like he is that far away from Sonic in the first place. There has to be like a character established.
Which one of us is going to play it? Which one of us is going to play it for the channel?
I don't have it. I'd be willing to get it if I can on Steam.
That's not going to happen for a long time, though. So, after Sega, which I just like now remember that because I'm like, wait, Sega also did a press conference. Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. Might as well throw them in here because now we're getting into the big ones. And we're gonna
did Atari do one? Oh wait, I'm a few years too late on that one.
No, they did. They did. No, they did. But I'm still waiting for the VHS tape to arrive in the mail because they're just that behind with the times.
Oh come on! Please tell me that there is going to be a sequel to Pong. Please, Pong.
It is
2 in color.
It is. It is.
Oh.
It is, and it's going to be
Ding.
coming.
It's not dun, 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 dun. It's
Pong.
Ding.
Pong on Betamax.
When you get a point.
Yep.
Pong on Betamax.
Oh,
Anyway,
man.
moving on, we are going into some of the bigger ones. We're going to start with Microsoft, because the last two I want to end with is Bethesda and Nintendo, because those were the two that we saw. We actually did see some stuff beforehand on that. Because those were the ones that, because I just cared about Nintendo. I don't have an Xbox One or PS4, so those don't really interest me, but I looked them up to see what other things we had. Xbox, let's see. If I remember right, they announced their Xbox One Slim.
The S.
Yeah. Which I'm like, oh, thank God, no more VCR console that's going to take up.
Well, it's kind of like natural progression. I mean, even if you look at the PS2, the PS2 was pretty big before they announced their Slim, which was like, what, 40% of the size at the very
I mean,
most.
at this point, though, I'm like, okay, I like a console as small as possible on the initial one, and I'm like, okay, when it comes to like Microsoft and Sony, I'm like, okay, if I would ever get one, I would just wait a couple of years because I know the slim models would come down.
Yeah, plus
And
this is supposed to have 2 terabytes of memory, which in comparison to their lowest amount for current Xbox One, which is 500 gigabytes, you get rid of that insanely fast. I only had my Xbox One for a couple of months, and it instantly, essentially went to, well, instantly within that time frame.
Instantly is now a couple of months.
Yeah,
just so you know,
I'm sorry. It pretty much went to full capacity insanely fast. I had to uninstall a couple of games that I had already played. It was, that's just how it kind of went.
I mean, all it really is a marketing tactic. For the hardcore fans. Hardcore.
Ha!
Yeah.
Now I'm correcting you!
Let's see.
That's all it really is. I mean, you buy one console, and then they release a slimmer one, and a little bit better, a
looking,
lot more memory, looks a little better, and so you buy that one instead of your big clunky box.
Okay.
And they're going to do the same with whatever the next generation is.
And they pretty much... I'm not saying that they've completely killed the Kinect, but that wasn't one of their selling points.
May you rest in peace.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
I got it.
But that's comparable to the Slim and the Xbox One. It was smaller, a little bit smaller, a lot sleeker looking.
And really, the Kinect is one of my things where I'm gonna bring up when we're discussing VR when we reach Sony next, because
that was just something that I thought of when VR. Okay, so moving on from like the consoles and stuff, although there is still another console when it comes to Microsoft. Some of the games is, I guess, Scalebound from Platinum Games. Never heard. I've heard of Platinum Games, although I don't know about anything about this game. Sea of Thieves from Rare.
Ooh.
Rare's finally getting back in the business, hopefully.
But that was actually announced at last year's E3. But I guess it's just kind of an update of what Rare has been doing with that game.
Hopefully.
They're taking their time.
Hopefully.
Hey, if
Make it good.
Rare has a good reputation. Don't get me wrong on that. It does take time nowadays to make a relatively good game. I know that there are a couple of games out there where it's just like, you make the game, everybody raves about it, and then people can't wait for more, whether it be DLC or whatever else, but they're waiting for another game, and you can't help but to think, okay, well, if they try and rush it for just marketing purposes, that they have it, say, by, holiday season this year, it might be a shadow of what it was.
Yeah.
I personally think if I were to make a game, that it would be essentially really thought out. I would take more than the time that I would think would be necessary for it in the first place to, get it done. So
yeah.
Okay, we also have Forza Horizon 3.
Another racing game.
Cars.
Yeah.
Don't. I have Mario Kart for that. We have.
And let's go on.
We have Dead or... Well, it's just cars. I mean, I'm not big into racing game. Well, I guess there was one that was called 90s Arcade Racer that was supposed to be coming to the Wii U. I'm like, okay, that looks good, although I don't know what's happened to that. It's kind of dropped off the map.
Yeah.
So, you have Dead Rising 4. I know about the Dead Rising franchise. Never played any of the games.
It's a pretty good franchise from what I've heard. I don't have like an in on it, but I've heard good things about it.
I've also heard of and I can't really find it here, but it's like, I guess Gears of War.
Gears of War, yeah, Gears of War.
Was that announced? Because I keep hearing about how
that was announced I think a couple of
because
months
I keep hearing about on announcements about how this one character from Gears of War is like now an old guy in the game. Let's see here, Halo Wars 2 delayed.
Oh, coming out in February of 2017.
Yep.
Wah wah.
Then we have
okay, that I can. That's kind of going with what I was talking about. They're taking extra time, but that also means that you'd think that
you're gonna miss the big selling points.
But you're still going for a better ish game in the first place. So.
Oops, kind of closed down for a second. Having computer troubles, but they also announced Cross All Play, I guess it was called. Microsoft did, where it was like all of their platforms would be like connected together to where like you buy a game for like the Xbox One and you can play it on like the PC or vice versa.
I heard stuff about that, and especially with like
play anywhere. The
cross platform in the first place. has been
Yeah, it
one
will
of those
be
big things,
once-
especially even between Microsoft and Sony. Been
That's
talking
gonna be
about that
huge.
stuff.
Played across Xbox One and PC at no extra cost. The announcement was made during. Oh yeah, Gears of War 4 was announced also. Yeah, there, and then finally, one of the biggest highlights is. Oh yeah, we also got Xbox Live features, which they did what Nintendo did, and it was like the Wii U has this thing where like if you like a specific game, you can like join like a little small community full of people like also like that game. And apparently Microsoft's doing the same thing now with like clubs, so like you can join like a specific community for if you like a specific type of game. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Same thing with Steam. So PC gaming falls under that realm too.
Okay,
You can join
but
different communities.
I wanted to get all the rumors of, I think it was called the Xbox Scorpio, the next console. Have you heard of that?
The Scorpio. No, that's
Microsoft Scorpio, I think. Scorpio. Let's see here. The most powerful console ever, they say it is.
Project Scorpio.
Is official. Coming holiday 2017, Microsoft is calling it the most powerful console ever. And this is where I'm getting like a little confused here, because my dad works for Microsoft and he was trying to explain it to me, because I'm like, okay, is this like the new Nintendo 3DS, where Nintendo came out with like it was essentially the same 3DS, but it's like, okay, it's just a little bit more improvements. It's just a little bit better, and you can play specific type of games. Because I think this console was also said to have been in that whole crossplay thing where you could take one game and play it on the other. I'm like, but if this thing's like 4 times more powerful than the Xbox One, how can you like take a game from the Scorpio and play it on the Xbox One? I'm like, so is this like an entirely new, different console, or is it just like an improvement to the Xbox One?
I think it's an improvement, and this is what I'm thinking of. Why? I don't know much about the Scorpio. This is the first I've heard about it, but I think it's kind of like, you know how when you have a PC game, you can have it set at different settings. I think what they're trying to go for is that you have the Xbox One, because it's already HD. You can play some pretty good games. You have some pretty good quality. That'd be relatively high on graphics quality and just overall. I think this is what they're saying is that this is supposed to be like the ultimate quality. This is the ultra quality. This is the best of the best. Yeah, that's what they're trying to go for.
I would have to re-ask
instead.
my dad about what the Scorpio exactly is, because I think you know more since he works for Microsoft. Because one of the things I keep hearing about is about how they were talking about the specs and how it's going to run at 1080 HD, 60 frames per second, constantly all the time without like lag whatsoever. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what exactly, if this is a new console or just a different model of the Xbox One. With the 4 times processing, I'm like, okay, I guess this is their follow-up to the Xbox One, but it doesn't feel like the Xbox One was released all that long ago. I'm like, how long has it been?
Not really long. A couple years.
It feels like it's only been like 2 years. I'm like,
usually
consoles like come out like every 4 or 5 years.
Well, I don't know. It's, for me, I can see it being one of those things where it could potentially be a new one, but it just doesn't have the same hype, because I know that there have been rumors about like Sony potentially having something coming up too, but until both of them really like have the marketing behind it, I haven't seen too much talk about potential consoles coming out, because that's something that you hear everywhere from if you're a PC gamer to a console gamer. wherever you get your information from, you see something about it well before, it hits the eyes of the average consumer. Xbox One and PS4 have their fair share of commercials on TV now, but back then, when the idea of it just was starting to come out, they had a couple of, teaser promos, but that would be kind of like, kind of here, kind of there, whatever, so...
Alright, so that was Microsoft, and now we're going into what people consider the winner of E3, but this is only our third pick. We still have two more, so let the fanboys rage as we
bring on the hate mail. No,
yeah, so Sony, everybody says Sony's the winner because they came out and it was just constant stream of games. They were new releases and everything. One of the things that was Hideo Kojima.
He announced his new game. I have to say that this would make me buy a PS4 that fast, insanely fast. I'm sorry, but this game looks amazing.
It does make me wonder though, when it comes to Kojima, he's now
Death
once again
Stranding, if you didn't know what I was talking about.
Yeah, he's on Sony consoles now, but he runs his own company, so I'm could we potentially see him working for other companies, making his games for other softwares as well? Because and when it came to Konami, they were exclusive because of they made exclusive just deals with Sony, but now he can make it. He can basically go anywhere, and with a name like Kojima, he can basically do whatever he wants.
I can see him. I can see him trying to, but I can also see why he wouldn't want to leave the comfort of the market that he currently has open with.
But like I said,
Sony consoles.
It's Kojima. It's not you basically say a name like Kojima is he can basically get whatever help he needs from any company, because they're not going to turn him down oh, you're having problems with our systems, well, too bad, deal with it. It's oh, this guy's having problems with our systems, send everybody out there to help him.
For me, it's kind of okay, so if I pose the question to you, Michael, if I said game's going to be coming out, it's going to be 100% great, you're not going to have any doubts about this game whatsoever, it's going to have pretty good replayability value, but the only thing is that you have to buy a new console. Would you do that knowing that you would also have to buy a $60 game afterwards? Just for one game?
Probably not.
Yeah, no. Exactly. You don't have a PS4, correct?
No, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna spend $500+.
Yeah, you're not going to instantly go out and try and get yourself into essentially a different gaming community in the first place, just for one game, one whatever. So that'd be essentially the people who are essentially used to Kojima's games being on PS4, they're not going to be wanting to be okay, so it's also Xbox or PC, which I guess they've done for a couple of games, Metal Gear Solid, that series, but that was a Konami thing. But, you could do a multi-release thing too. I mean, if it works, fine. It's not going to bother him a bit.
He now has the power to do whatever he wants. No more evil Konami.
No more Konami pulling him back.
How fast do you think Konami is going to crash and burn now?
Konami might be a little bit in trouble, I'm thinking. Because
how long do you think it's going to be until they're completely gone? Because you don't get rid of Kojima and be oh, well, just business as usual. Come on, we still have releases that we got to put out.
Atari's going to be phased out as the one to kind of talk at. I think Konami's the next one. That's just my opinion, but
all right, moving on from there.
Do you remember Konami? What?
Oh yeah, the Castlevania series from the 80s. Whatever happened to them?
There was another one. Oh, I completely forgot about that one because this one's the only one that I can remember.
Although somebody did bring up like a very good point when it comes to Metal Gear. It's like, look, Metal Gear is probably going to be like milked now when it comes to like sequels because they always wanted Kojima to like write the Metal Gear stories because now fans are like, well, now it's going to be during the Kojima era and post Kojima era when it comes to Metal Gear games, and that's even if Konami makes games anymore. They're making pachinko machines, Castlevania pachinko machines.
Oh boy. Anyway, next on the list for Sony.
The Last Guardian finally gets a release date. I have no idea what this game is. Apparently it's from, I think, the same creators of Shadow of the Colossus. I think. If I'm remembering.
This.
I mean, the only thing I've ever heard was, like, this got, like, a big reception when it, like, released. But then it just, like, went off the face of the earth, and then it was always like, nope, we're still developing it, and people are like, when are you finally going to release this? And now it's finally coming out this year.
And that's a timing issue, and
part of me hopes that it just sucks. it's like what I hope with Half-Life 3. It's like so much of the internet has said Half-Life 3 is going to be the best game. I was like, dude, I want this.
That's the thing. They were talking about this game supposedly before, and then they kept pushing back the release date, kind of like Mirror's Edge Catalyst or whatever.
Yeah,
it was talked about before. It wasn't like Valve said, "Oh, Half-Life 3 is confirmed. You can see it at this date." No, they haven't said that.
They haven't said anything.
No,
yeah, but
it's a fan base type thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but it's like this game gets hyped so much, and people waiting so long to finally see it, and then finally it comes out, and it disappoints every single one of them. It's like, yeah, I do hope it does good.
I like that thing on the internet where it says Half-Life 1 came out, before the millennium, so it's like, the 1, and then Half-Life 2 came out in the 2000s.
3000.
Yeah, Half-Life 3 is going to come out from, in the 3000 time, so
jeez.
get your time machines ready, because
no, it's like you go to the year 3000, and there's like...
We're still waiting for Half-Life.
No. It's like the franchise has been completely milked to where it's like now Half-Life 47.
The Call of Duty.
And they're like, please, no more Half-Life games.
Half-Life is not a new Call of Duty.
You wanted it in the first place.
Okay, moving on. We have... Ooh, who do we have here?
Another...
God of War. And I have no idea what this thing is about because I've seen the ending of God of War 3 and I think, spoiler alert, Kratos dies in that one if I remember right.
I don't know.
Look, he's got a beard. Alright, that was the first thing I noticed. He's got a beard and apparently it's not Greek mythology, it's Norse mythology I think they're drawing from.
Yeah, I think it is.
Snowy landscapes
Norse,
and hints at Norse mythology. Prep the live demo.
Yeah.
Gone is the fixed camera of previous God of Wars. The soundtrack is being composed by the accomplished Bear McQuarrie, and we're into the idea of Kratos mentoring a young boy. Oh God, this is gonna be horrible.
Oh jeez, that calls him father. Okay,
okay, we are. You know what?
But God of War has had it's one of those games that's praised, but it's not super in the spotlight. So it's still gonna do good. Don't get me wrong, but it's not gonna be
Here's the thing about when I heard that it was about Norse mythology. I immediately thought about that Star Bomb song. where I'm like, you know what? It's just going to get to a point in the God of War franchises where they've killed every single god and every single pantheon.
The god of carpet. Die, carpet, die. Or
The god of carpet from what culture?
shag carpet. So, carpet of the 80s.
Timbuktu.
Or was it 80s with shag carpet?
No, the carpet god from Timbuktu. It's like we're gonna get to that level of ridiculous.
Because they've killed every single one. Okay, there's also people have been talking about this game, which is Days Gone, and somebody actually said that this looks like they tried to make a Walking Dead game and they couldn't get the rights to Walking Dead, so they just changed it.
They made a completely new game
because
instead.
this is another zombie apocalypse, and apparently it's like a whole horde of zombies. I'm like, okay, I'm not into zombies, so whatever.
Okay. Zombies, when it originally came out, when it originally became a big thing, it was instantly milked, and it has not stopped being milked yet. Don't get me wrong, I love Call of Duty Zombies, the original World at War zombies, but the fact now is that it's been milked so much that they've lost their vision, I think, when they've been making the games with the zombies. I'd buy a zombie game if it came out standalone for Call of Duty, zombies, but it's one of those things that you can hardly recognize it from the original game that you had started to play in the first place.
Yeah.
So.
Let's see, and speaking of zombie games,
Resident Evil
7, which apparently is I've not seen. I've seen only a part of the video that they were showing, and apparently it's in first person, and it's going back to its horror roots, and that was the biggest thing, other than the thing that's coming up next, what console and platform it's going on. So I'm like, okay, I guess this is what the fans wanted, and I'm glad that they're finally responding to it. That's not the action game 6 was.
In the wake of the I guess sort of the death of the playable teaser, the Silent Hill thing,
Indeed.
that I think this is kind of tipping its hat to the fact that people were wanting a game like this, and they're essentially making a game that I guess it's supposed to be.
It says here
scary, but it's going to be just like the other Resident Evil games.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like, okay, so Resident Evil coming back, first person perspective, that can make it a lot scarier because you feel like you're in control instead of just controlling another person. Next one was Sony announced their own console, the PlayStation Neo. I don't.
Will it be the one? I'm sorry, that was a bad joke.
No, it's just an incredibly lazy joke because everyone else has made that reference.
Wait.
Everybody has made the Matrix reference.
Is Keanu Reeves gonna be endorsing this new one?
The only thing I know about it is the name, and that it's supposed to be the follow-up to the PS4. So
is this supposed to integrate the PlayStation VR stuff? Because
I think no. We'll get to that next. Although it may, because it's the next console. But I'm like, okay, how long before it gets retitled to the Xbox 5? I mean not Xbox. Guys, Microsoft and Sony are joining together. Microsoft and Sony are joining together. Everyone start running. It's how long before it gets retitled to the PS5?
I mean, it's probably there's answer to the Xbox Scorpio.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
No, because it was, I think it was Microsoft announced the slim model of the Xbox One, if I'm remembering what I saw online right. And then Sony came back and they're like, okay, we're releasing our entirely new console. And then Microsoft right afterwards and the next press conference they had, they released that, hey, we're making a new console, the Scorpio. So it's like I think Microsoft was like trying to run up Sony.
It's essentially like a back and forth type thing, you know. You make a move, then the other person makes a move, and then they do a retaliatory move, and it's just like, okay, so Microsoft, they're like, okay, here's our slim console, you know, what's your move, Sony? Sony's like, you know what, I'm gonna one up you, I'm gonna get out a new console or whatever, and then boom, Microsoft's like, we already had one in the makings, or supposedly had one in the makings.
Yeah, other than the name, I have no idea. Like, people are saying they didn't discuss the hardware whatsoever, or what type of games there would be. But they did discuss is probably what's going to be one of our longest things is PlayStation VR, which is going to come out on October 13th.
Okay.
Do you think VR is going to go anywhere?
VR, I believe, is going to have a big place. But I don't think that the console versions of VR, like okay, PlayStation VR, I don't think it's going to make a huge dent. That's what I'm sort of thinking. It's going to be one of those things where it's going to kind of rise somewhat in popularity, but it's going to get ousted by the HTC Vive, and I think inevitably that as well as other ones like the Rift, which my money's not on the Rift either. HTC Vive I can sort of see being adapted for consoles, both Microsoft as well as Sony in future games, because of the different things that you can do, especially if the HTC Vive gets like an upgrade of some sort, because it's not because it's bad or anything, it's just because, you know, compatibility and whatever with consoles may not be super, you know, whatever.
Here's the thing about VR for me, it's and this ties into the Kinect, is because when Kinect came out, the original Kinect, it was supposed to be the answer to the Nintendo Wii, and then they announced it for the Xbox One, and they were talking about, and even I heard about this from a few sources, about how this was like an updated, how this is going to be like really cool, how like it maps the room for you, it does all this cool stuff, and that this is like you can actually get your body and actually play it, and like if you're playing a first-person shooter, you can actually like act like you're holding a gun. And then it comes out, and then now it's not even being included on the S model. Like they had to. It's like when it first came out with the Xbox One, you could not buy it without the Kinect, and then they had to re-release another one without the Kinect because people didn't really want it. And so I'm like, okay, this thing, I don't know how much of it is going to be hype because, VR, it's pushing us into the future, and how much of it is going to be legitimately like creative, because I'm like, you don't play a third-person shooter game with VR headset.
That's the thing. They would have to adapt it for first-person stuff. And
yeah, but not every game should be adapted to do a first-person thing.
Not every game. No, I'm not saying that every game.
So I'm like, okay, so will it ever go mainstream, or will it be one of those things where I'm like, hey, this is really cool technology, but people don't really want it. It's cool for like visual stuff, and like horror games, like playing like, because like Resident Evil's supposed to come out on the VR. I'm like, okay, that could be scary when it's like right up in your face.
Mm-hmm.
But then like not everything. I just don't. I'm like, I've seen technologies like this where it's supposed to be innovative, but it just falls flat, and nobody really cares about it.
That's one thing that I kind of want to bring up, and it's if you know about this, you'd be sort of skeptical about virtual reality in the first place, but back in the day, there was a thing called a Virtual Boy. Essentially, it was Nintendo's version of VR before VR actually was a real thing. It was a red screen, and it caused a lot of headaches.
People know about the Virtual Boy.
Anyway, this VR technology that they have out now not only has applications in gaming, it also has applications, outside of the gaming realm as well. When it comes to essentially going to a different destination, you can have 360 videos. You can be a part of a certain location. You can essentially learn about different things. It's an educational tool. It's not just a gaming thing. You can have more than that. Just overall, it's kind of a pretty cool thing depending on how you have it set up. So,
oops, don't know what that was. Trying to look up what our next things are. Yeah, but anyway, VR, I'm like, I don't know. I guess it's gonna take off, although where it goes, I don't know, because I'm like, well, yeah, there's possibilities, but do people really want that, or do they just want traditional gaming?
This, I can see it catching on way better than what the Virtual Boy did. It's already gained popularity.
That's just
so.
Well, of course, because when you think about the Virtual Boy, it's like, okay, you're limited by the technology of that day. The way
now you have insane graphics instead of a red screen that causes headaches. I'm pretty sure it's an upgrade.
But anyway,
that's
all from Sony. People said it was the best, although, once again, it's only our number 3 spot. We still got 2 more press conferences to go through. Right now, we're going to go to the one that Jordan saw.
This is my number 1.
Bethesda.
So, Bethesda, or they had their BE3 conference.
BE3.
That's what they had, hashtag BE3 or whatever. But Bethesda's conference was pretty cool. One of the main things that I want to start off with is they are doing a complete remaster of Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
Yep.
So if you have the Legendary edition already, you should be able to have that. I think it's for free. Anyway, that out of the way. Dishonored 2. So psyched for it. Dishonored 1. Amazing game in and of itself. Dishonored 2, I've seen a little bit of gameplay of it. For those that remember Dishonored 1, no spoilers really, but Emily Caldwin, who was in the first game, is going to be in the second game and is a playable character. New powers and everything. One of them, it's called Domino. Essentially, you can mark different people, and the fate of the original person that you mark spreads out to the other ones. So if you trank one, they all get tranked at the same time, or if you kill one, they all get killed at the same time. It's kind of cool. But yeah, so that's a really cool game. I don't know. Do you guys know much about the Dishonored?
I've never played Dishonored 1.
Long story short, the first game, you are Corvo Attano, and you are essentially the guard for the Empress. Well, just kind of goes haywire. The Empress gets killed, and the daughter of the Empress gets taken away, and you, as Corvo, the protector, kind of get put in jail for what happened, and then...
Dishonored.
Yeah! You get it? But, yeah,
Dun, dun, dun.
Anyway, so, but yeah, that great series, or great game. I have hope for the series. But, on the topic of VR, going back to that, see, Doom, the 2016 version of Doom, as well as Fallout, are getting VR capability, and I think that's going to be pretty cool. I'm not sure how it's going to work out Fallout-wise. I haven't really processed through my head, but Doom? Oh, yeah.
Is it the PS4 VR? Because there's like different VR systems.
No, this is going to be... I think they're starting it off with the HTC Vive. That they're wanting to have that done at least by next year sometime. I don't think that they're thinking about like having console VR right off the chute.
So are you gonna get a Vive?
Oh, that's already kind of in the plans. As soon as I heard that, it kind of cemented the fact that I'm going to get one. So, be looking for VR videos at some point in time of us just frantically flailing about. So, that'll be fun when we actually have like cameras and stuff. So, yay!
All right.
But other than that, what else?
It seems like there's a new Wolfenstein teased, it says.
Yeah, yep, yeah. Wolfenstein teased a little bit. I don't know too much about that, but Quake Arena, that's one that's going, it's like a Quake Arena sequel. Quake Champions, my bad. So yeah, id Software, still going at it. Got Doom, got Quake. Yeah.
Okay, and finally, I guess that's all from Bethesda.
That's pretty good. I mean, other than that, they were talking about like Fallout Shelter going to PC as well. It's just, I don't know.
Okay, so my number one is because before leading up to E3, people were making fun of them because they only had a total of one game. One game they were showing off. One game they were only going to really talk about. And yet people have come away and said, you know what? Maybe that entire game stole the show. You may have your Elder Scrolls, but I have my Zelda Scrolls.
That doesn't really work, but
I've seen somebody label that. It's like the new Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, or Zelda Scrolls. I'm like, okay. So Nintendo only had one game, The Legend of Zelda, where we finally saw the trailer and saw the title, Breath of the Wild, and my god, this game looks amazing. Well, no, they had two games, and I don't really care about the first one. Sorry, Pokemon Sun and Moon fans. Mm-hmm. I know you're going to send me hate mail because of that, because I completely skipped over you, but I was so psyched to see the
Zelda makes more money than that.
Oh, way more money.
What?
Way more money.
No, it is Pokemon. Pokemon makes so much more money.
Well, okay, yeah, because of the entire franchise, yeah, but Zelda fans, I'm pretty sure they're a little bit more hardcore.
Zelda has made more money with far fewer things.
Yeah.
So
pound for pound wise,
I saw this game and it looks amazing. Although
the physics engine, holy crap!
Although the thing is, when I first, I'm looking at the gameplay, and I'm like, when we first see it, he's waking up in the rumor of resurrection. The Temple of Resurrection, it was first called, and people started immediately going online saying, well, is this a previous Link that's being brought back to life? He's being reanimated or something? And he wakes up, basically, he's wearing no clothes except his underwear. And people are like, and the guys are like, no, you can play Link like this throughout the entire game if you want. And I saw so many girls online going, I'm just gonna be doing this for the entire game. And so, but we get out of there, and he gets an Android, an iPhone, some type of tablet that looks like a smartphone. And apparently this is supposed... But no, it's not technology, it's still magic and stuff. And so people are like, was this some type of post-apocalyptic Hyrule, because the thing is, this game is supposed to like break down all of the conventions of Zelda. Basically, it's supposed to like reinvent the entire series, and so like, and you see that with like the exploration, like just like within the demo, it's like you saw people where it's like, okay, we're in this small space, and this space is huge, but then they like zoom out, and then it's like, geez, this map's like gigantic. It's like 12 times the size of what Twilight Princess was, and that was a big map. And so I'm like, yeah, this is like the Elder Scrolls, only with The Legend of Zelda. I'm like, I am so excited about this, although he still has not worn his green tunic. Like, all of his things around it is blue. And I saw multiple people post online, was like, well, maybe it's because all of these colors are so vibrant and green that if he was to wear a green tunic, he would basically be camouflaged into the surroundings.
You can't see me.
It's like he's wearing a U.S. Army thing. I didn't watch the entire conference because it's like, I think 7 hours long where they were just playing The Legend of Zelda. And I'm like, but it's like, I got to the part where they started snowboarding on Link's shield. That is completely possible down a mountainside. But like, just the trailer makes me excited because it like zooms out and you see like Link climbing the side of a mountain, and it's like, the mountain's like ginormous, it's like huge, and you can climb up to the very top. And then there's also voice acting in there for like the first time.
That's going to be interesting.
But not for
so
Link.
many different things
well,
from
no,
what it used to be.
It's not complete voice acting because they like talked to one of the villagers and he didn't have a voice, but it's like he wakes up and like hears a girl's voice and people are like, oh, that's Princess Zelda, so maybe Princess Zelda finally has a voice in this game. And then
wait, Zelda's a girl? What? Sorry, internet meme. If you've never heard of it before, just type in "what if Zelda was a girl." You'll get a lot of hilarious things.
So that's like, I'm like so excited for that. I also think Link can jump. I think, if I remember, Link can finally jump in the game. There's finally a jumping mechanic in the game that you can do. So yeah.
You don't need a feather or something to make you jump?
Nope. Running into the wall until he jumps up.
Yeah. He can finally jump.
Literally,
I don't know. I think he can jump. I'm not for sure. I think some of the gameplay had him jumping. But anyway, this looks cool. It's coming out on the Wii U and the Nintendo NX, the next, which we didn't really hear anything about, but that was basically all of it. But you know what? It was so sweet that I'm like, this made me excited.
I'm sort of pulling for Nintendo. Not wanting to say that, you know, hey, I'm gonna get your next console, because I don't even have a Wii U. I barely even have a Wii. I have one at my house. I just never play the thing. I just want Nintendo to stick around because Nintendo's been one of those staples, and they've had a good run. But recently, I've not been super enthused about.
I've
all
been
their
satisfied
stuff.
like by all of their products. It's like, yeah, they're not the most powerful, but you know what? They produce some stellar consoles and
console wise. That's where I'm going for. Handheld stuff, totally fine with. It's that's just my.
But I
shtick.
think that's everything. That's all the press conferences. That's all we got through Bethesda, Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, EA.
Wait, we could talk about Activision's Infinite Warfare for God. Oh wait, yeah. Let's
watch.
If you have no time, or if you have some free time and you want to essentially lose, 3 minutes maybe of your life, watch the trailer, and then whatever happens.
Look at the likes and dislikes, and you basically know our thoughts.
Ghostbusters 2. I'm sorry. I'm actually hoping the Ghostbusters 2 would actually...
You know,
or the new Ghostbusters. I guess they've already got Ghostbusters 2.
You've now unleashed so much comments on this video. I'm now going to have to bleep that last part out. Anyway, that's everything. We went through everyone, even Pitiful Sega, who basically never had anything. I'm sorry, Sega, I still love you, but you really need to change. But anyway.
Wait, is ColecoVision still a thing?
How about Apple?
Yes. No?
They have a console, right? Apple?
I think so.
Look, this video...
Is the Lisa still relevant?
This video's already long enough, so we've gotten through everything. That is our initial thoughts. I know all of the nerds out there are probably typing in the comment section, well, you're misogynistic for those Ghostbusters comments. Yeah. But also, you guys miss X, Y, and Z presentations and whatever releases that that this company talked about. Why didn't you talk about that?
It's not that we don't care, it's that we don't care. Anyway, so...
Thank you. So, anyway, thank you for visiting our campfire chat with the Gaming Expedition. Darth Michael, thank you for visiting with us.
Yeah, thanks.
Hopefully. Anyway, that if you liked this video, well, thank you. If you didn't, well, we're sorry.
Thank you. It's still, it's good to have constructive criticism. I mean, why not?
Anyway.
But otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, whatever you feel is right for you. Otherwise, I guess my name is Jafo.
I'm the Grand Jedi Master Jake.
And plain ordinary Michael.
No, plain boring Michael.
Oh.
Get it right!
Darth Michael to me. But anyway, thank you guys for coming along. Hopefully we can do this again. But until next time, see you guys around.
On our next expedition.